Hello, my name is Tim Bernard, and this is Beyond the Headlines, where we take a much different look at the world around us and what is really going on. There's no way that I could cover everything, but there's a lot more information at my website here, which I would urge you to go to. There's probably 50 to 70 new articles every week put up there on a wide range of topics, from health, finance, geopolitics, and everything else in a way that the mainstream bought-off press does not cover it, because they're paid millions of dollars to read from the script, and they know that if they don't read from the script, or if they embellish the script like Brian Williams did, because it's okay to not tell the truth, but you can't embellish it like Brian did, because then you might not believe in them. You have to believe in the narrative. And as William Casey said, one of the CIA, the head of the CIA back under Ronald Reagan, you'll know we've taken over when everything you believe is false. And they've taken over. One of the things they really would like to get Hillary in, and God help us if she gets in after that debate. This is her while she was Secretary of State, and she could hardly wait until she would get in with her 747 and they could party big time and around the world. And of course, I've played before, what they want to do is to usher in the fun camps. And people do not understand what her husband did to us in the finance world, from the derivatives to the getting rid of Glass-Steagall for the bankers. No one is a bigger friend of big business and Wall Street and the money changers than Hillary and Clinton. She is bought and paid for. And just look up Hillary and fun camps, and you should find out what that's all about.
Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people.
They estimated that they would have to eliminate 25 million people in these re-education centers. And when I say eliminate, I mean kill.
Because they have a place just for me and you. But we are the resistance, the V. That's from the French Revolution, the Vietnam War. It was also the sign in Tanzania for the opposition who lost, were demonized, and they're complaining about the election, which I'm sure there was voter fraud. I mean, George Bush lost 2 elections, yet was the president, and Obama appears to have lost the 2nd election and still became our president. I have a permanent link on my website to this, the First Global Revolution, because they openly talk about it. They write books about it because they know most people don't read, don't care. But we have been divided up. These are the FEMA districts. Remember the 10 districts from the book of Revelation. It will be fulfilled. It is being fulfilled. And we are coming to you from Global Region 1, FEMA District 10. Yes, our Lord knows what's going on. He's warned us. Those with ears ought to hear, and woe unto those who want to be our leaders and who are silent. Woe unto you. The key to understanding the book of Revelation is Alpha and Omega, first and last. That's how the book is laid out. We're first. We've already begun. This is right from the 6th and 7th chapter in the book of Revelation, started in 1999. The marking of the foreheads. You and I will not get marked. That means that we have to believe in God to be on His side. Disputa, like I say, I'm still looking for someone to come forward and debate the Eucharist. I'd love to do that. We're just going to keep throwing that out there. I did meet with someone, an evangelical, out in front of Planned Parenthood last weekend. And today is the day after the election. And it was actually a fairly decent election where we turned back some of the tide of what is going on. This is Bohemian Grove. If you don't know, it's one of the most popular things, so I just keep bringing it up because I keep meeting people that don't know about it. This is a place in Northern California where they do a mock sacrifice every summer of a child. And a lot of our leaders, political, religious, or not so much religious, but political, academic, military, and business leaders go there. So it's sort of a big deal. You can find out about it. This is from their own annal. This is where they bring the child in effigy, and that's where they burn it on that altar from the previous picture. They're dressed up in all this goofy garb. It's been on 60 Minutes. It's been in Parade magazine in the Sunday paper about 30-some years ago. They even had a picture of the owl in there. Oh, it's no big deal. People with conservative family values go there. That's what they said, because that was during the Reagan administration. And this is where they openly talk about what they're going to do, the new 10 Commandments, the Georgia Guidestones. Keep meeting people that don't even know about this, right outside of Atlanta. I've personally been there. There they are, written in 8 different languages. It's sort of like the American Stonehenge, right on a secondary highway, on top of a hill, right out in the open. The first one is to maintain a population on the earth of under 500 million. That's over 90% of the people got to go. That's what this is all about. If you study this stuff at all, that's what it's all about. It's reducing the population by over 90%. And you won't hear that in any religious service, or I never have, not once. A few have just slightly mentioned that there's even someone trying to take over, let alone that it's the money changers. That's who it is. And here's our mother warning about what's going on. This is 400 years ago, a church-approved apparition in Our Lady of Good Success. Look it up. The Masonic sects, that's what you see going on if you, from the money changers, and then you get it down into some of the lower levels of this organization. It talks about the corruption, the morals going down the tubes, and if you can't see that, you've been asleep the last few years. And one of the things she says is that people who should have spoken out will fall silent. And woe unto you, whether you're a religious leader or a secular leader. It's not going to be pretty when you face the man with the holes in his hands. This was an interesting thing from St. Colby. This isn't a picture of this event. I couldn't find one. But the Masons were parading around the Vatican, St. Peter's, with these signs talking about taking over the church. And look at how far we've fallen and what is going on. This is Our Lady of La Salette, another church-approved apparition from about 160-some years ago. Rome will lose the faith, and this isn't the only church-approved apparition that talks about this. Rome will lose the faith and become the seat of the Antichrist. The church will be in eclipse. It's not going to completely go away. It will go underground. The true church, and you can see the split coming now, even with this family synod. Even though it was beaten back, they're still going to keep trying and beat. There's a group within the church that want more and more to become a part of the world. And we're just totally giving over to the Muslims, and our church leaders are doing this. Here's Muslim migrants, and I showed you that church last year in America. Muslim migrants invited to take over German church. The altar, the cross, and the pulpit are removed. I mean, this is like crazy. This is a Masonic document, Alta Vendetta. And They wrote about this and how this would be a long-term thing to take over the church, slowly, little by little, chipping away. It's just like when they wanted to destroy our morals. They talked about what a big deal it was to get women's skirts from the ground to above their ankles. Now, it's just trying to keep them below their crotch. This didn't happen by accident. And woe unto you who promote this stuff and look the other way by your silence. You've been warned for centuries. See, and here it is in Kansas. Wichita State University rips up chapel pews, removes the crosses to accommodate the Muslims. And if you're outraged, you're called Islamophobia. Are you people nuts? Have you seen what's going on? I mean, most Muslims are like most Christians. They're just lukewarm, rolling along. But there's some that are on fire. You had better stand up for our faith. It's like Pope Leo XIII said, Catholics were born for combat. Do something. Jesus said, what he thinks of lukewarm people, I spit you out of my mouth. How I wish you were hot or cold even. Oh, we just need to give over to these guys. And a Bush speech writer, you're a bad Christian if you don't accept Muslim refugees. This is a planned takedown. Wait till you read. We've got some better stuff coming up. Look at this is an invasion of Europe, especially. They're trying to do it here, bringing them in. I've done articles before on that. And we have this one article in a town of just a little, it's a village with just a little over 100 people. They wanted to bring in 1,000 and relocate them. And the village complained. They said, okay, we'll only make it take 750. That's a takeover, my friend. It's a takeover. And they don't care. Merkel doesn't care in Germany. They want to bring Germany down because it's the strongest nation in the EU financially. And that's why they're taking us down. I mean, they just passed that debt extension. What a joke! What a joke! The Republicans and the Democrats, they sleep together. Boner and Obama, I mean, these guys, they're traitors. That's what they are. They're traitors. See, a record 60 million people now displaced globally. And why are they displaced? Well, because a guy who got the Peace Prize is doing what his masters wanted, which is cause havoc and mayhem around the world. Order out of chaos. That's their plan to enslave us. Problem, solution, reaction. They cause the problem. They offer the solution, which brings about the desired reaction that they wanted in the beginning. I only hope that the people wake up in time. How bad this is going to be depends on you. You know, I've had people go, oh, we already know how this ends. Jesus wins. Well, amen, brother. But the amount of bloodshed and the amount of suffering has not been determined. This isn't a chance for you to just sit back and go, oh, I'm going to be whisked away in the rapture. No, you're going to be enlightened in the rapture. That's what a rapture means. You should look it up. Remember the fellow with the cross and stuff? Well, read the book of Revelation. Before we hurt the earth, and they're starting to do that now, because the official marking started in 99. Officially to the world. That priest now has not only the mark on his forehead, which has been checked out by the Vatican, he also has the full stigmata. Plus, it says that we had better wake up. Please try to wake people up. This is going to be so bad. this was one place. Well, these are a couple different places. One in the U.S. We have this guy. They don't talk about all the rape and stuff that's going on with some, not all of them, but some of them disproportionately, and like that the immigrant who killed that guy from the sanctuary city in San Francisco, he was thrown out of office. Even San Francisco is beginning to wake up to the heinous stuff that Obama and the Democrats are even worse. But the Republicans are right there. The establishment Republicans sleep with the Democrats. That's why they hate the radicals in the Republican Party. And this was over here, Convert or Die was written on this fast food shop to their owners. The number of illegal entry attempts into the UK quadruples in just 24 months. This is an invasion. This is what, without guns, and this is what they even say. This one guy says, let me read this little thing, this little ditty here. A Muslim man warns the Germans, "We will marry your daughters, and we will conquer you with births," because they have large families. Now, fortunately, there's still some Catholics that have large families and haven't bought into the contraception. But this is how they're going to take it over. And they wanted a clash of civilization. This was written about by Pike more than a century ago in this final climax to bring this about. This has all been orchestrated from above. We've been warned by God, but so many people are falling asleep. There will be a remnant of us left. This is the purification that is going on. But if you're not waking up by what's going on in the Middle East, which we caused, why are all these people fleeing the countries over there? Because we've destabilized them. The money changers use our military, and we fund the freedom fighters who are being used. They don't even understand at the bottom, but at the highest levels within these different groups, they know exactly what is going on and who is funding. Bakshish. That's the way it's worked for millennia. An abortionist compares, we have a story, an abortionist compares a human fetus to a cancerous breast. It's just to be cut off, like a lumpectomy. This will stop. Kelsey Grammer blows up Instagram with a pro-gun, anti-abortion t-shirt. Would it bother us more if they used guns? Here's a great one. An Irish priest gets tough on same-sex marriage. The bishop apologizes. And right in Paul's letters in the New Testament, he talks about the signs of the times. This isn't the end of the world, but this is a purification. We're on the front edge of a long period of peace, actually. But there's going to be bloodshed on an unbelievable scale. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And unfortunately, the leadership in the church, much of it, many of them are complicit. They were for the destabilization of Libya. They're for the global warming garbage. Not even looking, and in that book, The First Global Revolution, should go to that page, I think it's 75. It's listed right on my front page, so you can go right to it. It talks about using that issue, and this was written like 40 years ago. But Russia is becoming more Christian. And interesting, that's an article. So many questions, so few shepherds, which was what we were warned about centuries ago and on down through the line. That's hardly the only prophecy about the silent shepherds and the lost even. And look at this. Father of the princess boy to critics, keep your masculine baloney. I mean, this is so sad what we're doing to our children. The feds are ruling to force high school girls to undress next to naked boys who think they're girls. I mean, we're living in la-la land. This is what we worry about in America, while the rest of the world is getting ready for what's coming, which is all hell is about to break loose. The takedown of America. Nothing can... I mean, there it is. The takedown of America. The Devil's Tabernacle, the TV, don't hear that mentioned much. I mean, like here in Seattle, even, I mean, the last Super Bowl, they should have been saying, hey, don't let your children watch the ads, and especially the halftime show. And there was Katy Perry riding, like the whore that she is, riding the beast. I mean, the devil's just throwing it in our face. Here's another inconvenient truth. New NASA study finds that Antarctica is gaining ice. Oh, but now it's just climate change. As if climate hasn't changed. If that's not the history of climate on the Earth, is that it changes. Though I am 100% behind the alternative energy that is suppressed. Here we go. Here's a satellite picture from 95, May 5th of this year, just a couple months ago. I mean, what's going on? And this is the North Pole. I mean, I don't know, you know, and and some of the people that they've had, let's see, the bishops, climate change requires legally binding and truly transformational climate agreement. I've heard our own bishop talk about this. And Jesus has reached out and touched our bishop because he just pushes the information I give to him. Oh, it's no big deal. I'm above your information. Who are you? I pray for all of our leaders, our bishop and the Pope. One of these guys, a leader, Cardinal Turkman, who's the head of the Peace and Justice in the Vatican, I personally spoke to him, personally handed him information on this from pictures about what's going on. He never mentions the eugenics stuff going on. And a fellow named Cardinal Ratzinger, he said it's our duty. I have a link to that on my website. It's our duty as Christians to protest this eugenics operation. I mean, it's just disgusting what is going on. I feel sorry for these people because when they meet the man with the holes in his hands, there's going to be hell to pay. And speaking the truth in deceitful times, this is a revolutionary act. I mean, I'm hated, especially by establishment people. You see, because it's like I sent a lot of this information to every bishop in America because I know everyone, and I've personally handed information to some of the top people in the church in America and in the church in Rome. You see, because they want to pretend like they're ignorant of, well, you know, we don't like your information. It's not comfortable. It's not popular. We won't get enough scratch, enough money. False flag operations. What's coming? And this isn't a prophecy. This is just how the world works. There's going to be more false flag operations. You can take that to the bank. Whether it's 9/11, the last big financial collapse, these are all operations. And remember, we were warned about our financial stuff, whether it was Henry Ford said well enough that Americans don't understand the financial system or there would be a revolution tomorrow morning. Charles Lindbergh Sr., Lucky Lindy's father, who was a congressman fighting this global cabal, when they set up the Fed 100 years ago, said from now on our depressions would be scientifically created. Eisenhower warned us about it. I've got links to his military-industrial complex speech. You should read that, how it would infect every part of our life. And not only on the military side, and get into the state houses, the schools, our religious institutions, but he also talked about we had to watch out for a scientific technological elite. And you can see them, and how would they be controlled? He says through the allocation of money. I mean, it's just like the media. Well, there's no censorship. No, but if you want this multi-million-dollar job, you're going to read the script. If you don't want to read the script, there's a whole line of beautiful people who will read the script for a 7-figure contract. There's no problem finding people that'll sit up there and smile and say, Hillary is, oh, she's the greatest person that ever walked the earth. And those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. The Southern Poverty Law Center, an article attacking the First Amendment, alternative media. I've warned you, they're doing everything to try to get rid of this. My kind of shows and us. But God has allowed this, so it's out there. Nobody can really say that they don't know. Many people will say, well, you know, those guys are kooks and wackos, and just take a look at what some of these guys are all about. And like I said, Obama's the liar in chief. And we're looking for the new one. Trust me, I've got your back. Yeah. Facebook is secretly backing the Senate's zombie CISA surveillance bill while publicly pretending to oppose it. Zuckerberg's totally bought off. I mean, he's a part of this global cabal, just like so many of the others. They serve the dark side. But they look cool in their t-shirts. Boeing is selling out. They're building a plant in China. This is how China takes over. So what are they going to get? They're going to learn how to build a plane from the best builders in the world, or one of the premier builders of planes in the world. They're going to copy everything. That's what they do. That's what they've done before. They steal everybody's stuff. And that's what goes on here. I mean, that's what Microsoft was founded on. MS-DOS was purchased by Paul Allen for $50,000. It was called CPM. I mean, that's how their company got started. He might not have said that in his memoirs, but there was a lawsuit about it and stuff in the early 90s, and they had to pay out a little bit. It's an interesting story, but we don't have time for it. But yeah, no, there they are, selling out to the Chinese. Yeah, thank you very much. Teach us how to build those planes. And the destruction of our country is going after our students. And we have been taken over. 5 + 5 = 15 is wrong, according to Common Core. No, you see, you were supposed to write, well, we want you to write 3, whatever you say, we'll just make it wrong. 3 + 3 + 3 + 3 is what we wanted you to do. You know, it's just a semantics game that they're playing to confuse young minds. And the teachers don't know this. They're just, it's called compartmentalization. But this group, this cabal, They hire the top 1% of people. If you're one of a 1%er intellectually, they look at you to see if you're too independent, they'll leave you alone. But if you're malleable and can be bought off, they'll give you a free ride to everything. Your books will be published. You'll have this cushy life. All you've got to do is write the script that the talking heads read. And we have books on this. Not that people from my side have written, but people from the dark side, they openly write books talking about this. Like Tragedy and Hope. And Bill Clinton mentioned Carroll Quigley in his first inaugural address. I mean, this isn't secret, because they know most people don't care. They're so dumb. And these guys are so arrogant, they love to flaunt it in your face. Just like the Georgia Guidestones. You've never heard about that. I mean, I've never heard in church that they're killing us now. Now. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. They have been for decades. That's what's going on. That's what the truth is. It's all I can do to try to stay awake during the homily. But I love the Mass because I know what it's about. I'm about to receive Christ, the real presence. And that's what the devil hates. And the Mass, the true Mass, is going to be outlawed. That's still a ways away. By ways away, about 20-some years probably. And when that happens, all hell is going to... You're going to see bloodshed. We're going to see bloodshed at an unbelievable pace now. But then, we're going to see hundreds of millions of people dying. In the very near future, we need to start getting ready now. And if you're not, and what's the number one thing to do? Get right with the Lord. Because then it doesn't matter. The flesh is useless. Every day, and I'm a happy person because every day I'm one day closer to my Creator. Every day is a beautiful day because I'm one day closer to you, Lord. And this is, there's a big backlash now against, they're firing that deputy from the zombie girl that was sitting in the class causing all the problems. And so they're going to make a big deal out of how she was violated. But what about all the other students who were violated by this person? I mean, the principal tried to drag her out, tried to get rid of her. All these officials, and finally they had to get a policeman. And she just sits there just, no, honey. And I've shown you some of that from some of the protests. There was that one gal wallops her son. She sees her son out there protesting against some of these ridiculous, I believe it was in Ferguson. But this is the whole divide and conquer. This is a scientific, technological elite. They know what they're doing. They're trying to divide us between the blacks and the whites, the Hispanics and the whites, and they don't want us to come together. But there's a revolution coming, a revolution of love. Harvard researchers create the first flying and swimming insect-like robot. We've done stories on that, the little bees. I mean, this is not going to be pretty, the system that's being built around us. We had better wake up, and how bad it's going to be depends on you. I'm doing what I can. I can do more if someone wants to help me, but at the very least, you need to wake yourself up and try to wake those up around you. The game of loans. The interest is coming, and wait till they raise the interest rates. Wait till they shut down how many people are able to get their food stamps and stuff. And before we leave this section, Obama was talking about the bitter clingers, people who hold on to the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, freedom of speech and religion, and the second is the right to bear arms. Because the first thing these totalitarians always try to do is disarm the people. And we need to disarm the governments. That's who we need to disarm. They're our servants, not our masters. I don't want to be ruled by Hillary. I know there's lots of people that would love to be. And there's lots of people who are bought off who will say what a great deal it would be. And Obama's just talking about, oh, how great the government is, and it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, and what it shouldn't do, it wants to do. You know, all of these systems have collapsed because all you do is get cronies in there, and it becomes a kiss-ass society. That's what's going on. On SNL, on Ben Carson. Now here's a black guy who's honest, hard-working, and a success by every measure. Please, America, pick anybody but the black guy. Oh yeah, why don't we get some bought-off commie like a bomb? New MIT algorithm rubs shoulders with human intuition in big data analysis. Part of the AI and controlling. They're going to pretend like what you can see this happening is, oh, you know, you guys aren't smart enough to handle this. We'll have this computer that will make all the complicated decisions for us. And then they'll give it a voice, probably a female voice. Just as it states in the book of Revelation, the beast. And the thing that they won't tell you, though, is there's a little trap door in the back, just like the Wizard of Oz. And the money changers will make sure that this all-intelligent computer actually spews their baloney, because that's how it works. I was in that field. So I'm not at all intimidated by AI and computers. Not at all. Not at all. Here's another thing. They're bombarding us. We've done stuff with the smart meters here and everything. And now they're just going to be traveling around in a mobile van. We've done stuff on that for more than a decade. This is shooting through concrete walls and stuff. This is not good for people. I mean, Take Back Our Power is a great documentary on that. People are dying because of this and getting sick. This is an issue right here in Seattle, the smart meters. And of course McCain, you know, talking about, oh my goodness, we got to support the Syrian freedom fighters. Here's the ISIS leader, al-Baghdadi, and here's our buddy John McCain. A Kodak moment. Yeah, this is great. I mean, this is just what a farce it is. It's all. I mean, and Assad wasn't a great guy, but there was nothing wrong. The country was opening up and liberalizing. If you knew anything about Syria from his father coming on down. Of course, one of the big problems is Syria is not a part of this global banking system. That's really why we're in there. Oh, and another great thing, this is a gas station that cost it cost $43 million to build this. And it said the real cost should have only been about $500,000, and even that should have been high because things are cheaper over there. But anyway, and this is just some of the war profiteering that goes on. And of course, it's all financed. That's what this is all about, getting the people in debt, and the trillions that have been spent over there. I mean, we could have made Afghanistan a really nice place with the amount of money we spent. For a fraction of the money we spent, not to mention all the lives lost, all the lives that we have lost, and all the people that have been hurt, both psychologically and physically, from our troops. I mean, you know, because, and the first thing they always say is, oh, you're against the troops. No, I'm for the troops. I'm against the leaders who misuse our troops. And the military is the most awake segment of society. Because see, when you put your life on the line, a lot more of you are willing to, hey, what's going on here? This doesn't, what they're telling me doesn't seem to, is not what I'm seeing. But, you know, and we're arming the terrorists. We do stuff on that all the time. You know, hope you guys wake up. Yeah, and, you know, I mean, this is an official report, and they've lost trillions. There's that great bit where Rumsfeld on September 10th, 2001, goes, yeah, we don't know where $2 trillion went. Of course, the next day was 9/11. Don't worry about it. Now trillions have gone out. And we've done reporting on how many trillions have been spent from the start of the war. And we're going to get into the financial thing in just a second, and how much more they want. This is a picture of that Russian jet that's gone down. It'd be interesting to see who might have really been behind that. Because the West is not good. And you have to remember, it was on the last blood moon that Putin gives a speech at the UN, just laying out that, hey, we're the culprits of what's going on over there, of the destabilization of Syria. And I told you years and years ago that Russia wasn't just going to roll over and play dead and let them take over, because they're trying to roll over, and that's why they don't like Putin, they being this international group that is trying to take over. Even though Russia is a part of it, it's like there's no honor among thieves. At least Putin cares about his people. Obama doesn't care about us. Who suffers the most? Take a look at what's happened to the black population under Obama. Take a look at what's happened to women under Obama. Who better to sell you out than someone who says, I'm for you, I'm working for you. But anyway, we'll have more to talk about this as this unfolds in the coming months. I mean, that we're not moving away. You know, see, we're all worried about CO2, which is helpful for the world, but there's no talk about all the nuclear plants that are leaking, and these are the ones that are running every day. How much radiation fallout has fallen in America from Fukushima? I have some good links on the left side of my website. You should take out some people who just study this and look at it. I mean, it's just, this is not good. Millions are going to die from cancer in the coming decades. This is a soft kill weapon, just like all the other stuff that they put in the vaccines, which is what they said they were going to do. Oh, yeah, and here's what they put in our water. Don't worry that the NIH in a peer-reviewed study from Harvard said, yeah, it lowers your IQ. It bioaccumulates in the bones. Oh, in the teeth, in the central nervous system. I mean, this is a bag of what they put in our water. How insane is this? I live in La La Land. Absolute La La Land. And then here's a book written 60 years ago, where the impact of science on society. This is a top globalist. He was. I mean, he's not with us anymore, thank goodness. But he says, yeah, diet, injections, and injunctions will combine from a very early age to produce the sort of character and the sort of beliefs that the authorities consider desirable. And serious criticism of the powers that be will become psychologically impossible. You can read Aldous Huxley talk about it from his book that he wrote in the 30s. Giving a speech in Berkeley to postgraduate students in psychology and future psychiatrists, saying the exact same thing. In his own words. I mean, it's out there. It's everywhere. You never hear this stuff. Except for people like me. And I'm at peace with this. I just have to warn people. I have to try. I wish I could do a better job. I wish I had more financing. I could do more. I do what I can. I work a regular job. While these boys sit in the background with their paid-off horse. Jump in, the water's fine. You know the old story. Take a look outside the frying pan, my friends. I was at a deal. This was at Seattle University, a Catholic university. Oh, promoting Ben Bernanke. Here he is giving us a finger. This was actually at a congressional hearing where he's doing that. And gloating over what a great guy this traitor was. I just don't have time. I haven't had time to upload the stuff and do everything because I just don't have the time. I've done so much about it, and throughout, if you do any research into this dude, he is one of the top puppets for the puppet masters that we actually can see, who sold us out. The only thing really that he didn't get done, he gave a speech to the Bankers Association before he became head of the Fed, where he laid out these different things he wanted to accomplish, monetizing the debt, getting us tied on to all these derivatives and stuff, and I've mentioned that over the years. The one thing that they haven't done yet, and they will do this pretty soon, is there's going to be a banking holiday, and it looks like they're going to call it the global currency reset. And they'll devalue our dollar. It looks like 30% is the number we're getting. We'll see if that's what happens. But they will have this and set up their global currency. Young adults, these are just some signs of the times. Young adults living at home. It went from 1/4 of young adults living, I believe that was in, so back in 1999, about 1/4 of all 25-year-olds lived with their parents. By 2013, that number has doubled, and currently about half of all people 25 years old live with their parents. I mean, come on. That's not, here's Caterpillar World Retail Sales year to year. This is the Great Recovery. Yeah. In your dreams. Central bank interest rates. And what's interesting about this, as you notice, they're starting to get negative. In Sweden, as I've been telling you, not only for a long time, man, it's almost been a decade now, about this coming cashless society. Well, Sweden looks like they're going for it right now, and see, that's where they want to put us in, because then, think about it. You have to keep your money in the bank, and you're going to have to pay to keep it there. What a deal that is. And I've told you about the bail-ins, just like they did to Cyprus, remember, a couple years ago. Well, every European Union country had to make it legal in their country to make bail-ins legal by the end of July. And I believe that's been done here too, of course quietly, bipartisan. There's all this fighting they talk about. Oh, we can't get anything, there's all this gridlock, unless of course it's what the money changers want. Then it's amazing how the Democrats and the Republicans can work together to sell out you and me. And eventually, they're going to stick a chip in you. There's that great clip. Just type in Sweden RFID 2015, and you'll see this woman. It's just to get into and work in a large office building. And she goes, oh, I thought this was going to hurt, but it's so modern, it's so 2015. Thank you for my chip. No bank card required. Citigroup testing eye scanning at the ATM. Biometrics. This is where it's going. The mark of the beast. It's coming. This isn't the mark of the beast initially, but it's the precursor. Just like the frogs, slowly but surely. Because in the end, they're going to come right out and say, and you'll know it's the mark, but you'll be so compromised by the time it comes that very few people are going to be able to resist if you haven't already started. This is a battle. This is a spiritual battle. Build up your muscles with daily prayer. Go to at least some kind of service. You know, here in Seattle, on any given weekend, 3/4 of the population doesn't go to any kind of a service. Of the baptized Catholics in this diocese, less than 10% go to Mass weekly. Oh, that's, you know, Jesus, I'm busy. This just doesn't fit into my schedule. I can't fit in an hour and a half, that's counting the driving time, to do this even, Jesus. You know, you wouldn't want me to miss out on whatever. I got to watch the Seahawks lose or something, or even win. Who cares? You know, we're in big trouble. Things are going to get very, very bad. Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes its laws. And while we're on this, I'd like to get into, let me see.
If there's one thing that has unified Democrats and Republicans, and everybody in between, is that we all hated the bank bailout.
This is all about controlling money. I've mentioned a long time ago about an economic war game the Pentagon did with China, and that it looked like we would lose. There's a nuclear option that Russia has. And remember that Obama can declare martial law from any kind of a problem and take over. And if Russia would default, and they have nothing to lose to default if we keep pushing them the way we are, on over $1 trillion worth of loans. Some articles we've done. That'll bring down a bunch of banks in the West. So there's a lot of options, a lot of ways out there that this can go bad. And it'll be used. It'll be an orchestrated takedown. And they want to blame someone else. They want to blame Russia for what they've done. They want to blame everybody else but them, because they're the foxes guarding the hen house, and they've gorged themselves, they've vomited, and there's still a few chickens left, and now they're going, you better let us go back in the hen house. We'll take care of you this time. These people are liars, pathological psychopaths. And here's someone who took on the money changers. This is JFK's press secretary that morning, pointing to where the entrance wound was in his head, which is exactly what you'd expect from back and to the left, clearly showing it. 9/11, another false flag operation. This is Building 7, the one they never talk about. 49-story building just magically falls down on 47 stories, I think it was. Whatever. Over 500 feet tall. Just nothing hit it, it just falls down. First one in the history. Architects and engineers for 9/11 truth. I mean, which lie is okay with Jesus? Do you think Jesus doesn't know what happened to Building 7? Really? Maybe you ought to check it out before you get so gung-ho about all the manure that's being spread on TV and by all of our leaders. All of them. The fake left-right paradigm, talk about that all the time. False flag operations, they've worked for thousands of years. No reason to change. Take a look outside the frying pan, my friends. The take-home message from 9/11 It was the anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's very first protest. And this is going to be a revolution of love, and we must be the change that we wish to see in the world. Like I said, we have to be nonviolent. We will be violently opposed. You can make sure of that. Seek the truth and bear witness to it. And this has got to stop. This is a sacrifice of a child on the altar of lust and convenience. And I have a story in here of a woman who was exonerated for murdering her child that was, I believe, 6 days old. Because they said, oh, it's not really a child. It's only 6 days old. And we've done stories where they want to kill children up to 4 or 5 years old. I mean, these are laws being passed in European countries. We are so far gone. Jesus sees what's going on. There's going to be change. You can take that to the bank. Not Obama's change, not Hillary's change, not Boner's change, not the Republican change, not Democratic change, not even most of the religious change that our bishops want. No. The truth is going to reign supreme. But man, it's going to be a rough ride. There's a whooping coming. A whooping is coming. Anybody who tells you that you had better not take your cross and pick it up and carry it, even if that person comes to you showing you miracles, run from him. That's St. John of the Cross, a doctor of the church. You should read some of his writing. He's considered the top mystic in church history. Right up there. Prayer and fasting can change the world. It can stop wars. And this is a rosary, a very powerful, powerful weapon. Of course, the greatest prayer is the Mass, for those of you who don't know that. But anyway, Infowars.com is one good site. There's my website. You can tell, a very simple thing to do is to tell people about my website. Say, hey, why don't you see what this guy's saying, and tell me what you think about it. My show's on Thursdays, 8 to 9, Friday, 1 to 2 in the afternoon, and I'm also on early Friday morning from midnight to 1 a.m. And remember what my Sioux brothers say, Matakaweoisin, we are all related. So go out and have a great week, and may God bless you and take care of you and your family.